It is now 7:07. I would like to call tonight's meeting into order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Dr. Jacobowitz?
Here.
Ms. Lau?
Here.
Ms. Jordan?
Here.
Ms. Shearer?
Here.
Mr. Lamb?
Here.
Mr. Spicer?
Here.
Dr. Collins?
Here.
Ms. Anderson?
Here.
Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I need to begin our meeting with a motion to amend the agenda to certify the election.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion to amend the agenda is approved. I entertain a motion to certify the election, which is resolution number 2022-B86.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Any abstentions? Will the clerk please read the official election numbers?
For the 2023-24 budget, yes, 2,283, no, 971. For the 5-year capital project, yes, 2,226, no, 1,008. For each candidate for the Board of Election, for Fabiana Weiss-Fergal, 1,137. For Rose DeSantis Belfort, 1,300. For Priscilla Lau, 1,380. For Mark Ryder, 2,006. For Kathy Collins, 1,680. For Jennifer Fitzgerald, 1,827. For Ryan Van Cleek, 1,264. For write-in candidate Daniel Gruner, 764.
I need to continue our meeting. Wait, we have to. So we need to.
What do you have next?
We need the resolution for Priscilla's
Okay. Because of the election results.
You can say as a
Because of as a result of the election results of last night, Ms. Priscilla Lau is resigning her current seat on the board, which expires on June 30th, 2023, as of today, May 17th, 2023. Ms. Lau will now be sworn in to the Board of Education to the seat that expires on June 30th, 2024. I will now give Ms. Lau the, or we have to.
Yeah, Ms. Lau, would you please come forward?
Raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
I do solemnly swear that I will
Support.
support the Constitution of the United States
And the Constitution of the State of New York.
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
And that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of the Kingston City School District
of the office of the Kingston City School District
Board of Education
Board of Education
as trustee
as trustee
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability. Thank you.
To continue our meeting, I need to request another motion to amend the agenda to propose a resolution. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor of amending the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Any abstentions? Motion is approved. I ask for this resolution to be added to the agenda as follows. The board hereby appoints Mark Ryder to fill the unexpired term of Priscilla Lau that will expire on June 30th, 2023, effective immediately. I need a motion to add this resolution to the agenda.
So moved. Second.
And any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Any abstentions? Wait, we didn't vote on the resolution yet, though. We voted to add it to the agenda. Now we have to vote on the actual resolution. Told you it's tricky. Now I ask for a motion and a second to approve the motion that we just added to the agenda.
So moved.
So moved.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I just want to make a comment. So this means that Mr. Ryder will be filling in Priscilla Lau's seat until that term ends, and then he'll be appointed again in his new term for the full 3 years.
That's
correct?
exactly right.
Okay. I just wanted to be clear about that.
Any discussion, which we just had? Hearing that, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Any abstentions? Resolution is approved. Is Mr. Ryder here? Mr. Ryder, will you please come forward and take the oath of office?
I do solemnly swear
I, Mark Ryder, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the oath of office
of the oath of office
of the Kingston City School District Board of Education
of the Kingston City School District Board of Education
as trustee
as trustee
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
And just 2 points of order for Mr. Ryder. As a new board member, and we know you haven't had a chance to read the in-depth agenda, if anything makes you feel uncomfortable, you can say I abstain. And as the newest board member, you also have a job, which is you read our donations
When the
every
time
meeting
comes.
until somebody else is newer than you. Welcome aboard.
You don't have to do it right now, we'll tell you.
You will be notified at the appropriate time. We will continue our regularly scheduled meeting with an opening to public comment. Do we have people wishing to make public comment? Oh. Okay, which what?
Just before public comment, I do, especially given what we just did, there's some confusion, but I do want to say that the official results have been given to the board. The board has now approved them. Mr. Ryder has taken his seat, which we'll have from now for the next 3 years. But also just in response to some questions I had today, I wanted to read a statement for everyone to let people know. Neither the Board of Education nor the administration have any role in the election process. The poll workers and inspectors come from a list provided by the County Board of Elections. No one at Kingston City School District works the polls, counts the votes, or makes decisions on what ballot is correct or legal. That is completely in the hands of the people who the list is provided to us by the County of Elections. That being said, there was questions regarding write-in candidates and whether or not certain ways of spelling or names were counted. All spellings and all names of all write-in candidates, regardless of whether they were correct, were counted by the election inspectors appointed by the County Board of Elections. If there's doubt or question about the election or the election process, any citizen can make a complaint to the New York State Commissioner of Education. Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Dr. Padalina. Now we will continue our meeting with public comment. And as we do have some people ready to make a public comment, I would like to read our public comment statement. Good evening, everyone. We are about to enter the portion of the meeting where we welcome public comments. Please remember, comments are limited to 3 minutes each, and our total time for public comment is 30 minutes. And although state law does not require that we hold a public comment period, we feel it is crucial that we hear from our community about their concerns. The board is here to listen. Because we take your concerns seriously, we want to have time to process and research your issues. Your concerns and questions may be addressed at a future meeting of the board, or you may be contacted by an appropriate staff member or administrator. If you have a prepared written statement and do not have the opportunity to present it, please leave a copy with the clerk of the board, who will make sure all the trustees receive it. Please note that state and federal privacy laws and collective bargaining agreements prevent us from discussing certain topics in this venue. These guidelines are posted on the boardroom wall. Thank you for your adherence to the rules and your interest in the continuous improvement of our district. And please, let's have our first person for public comment.
Joseph Bikert.
Brought a few more people with me than my assistant this time. My name is Joe Bikert. I'm a parent of 3 students in the Kingston School District, and I'm here tonight to follow up on my April 18th presentation on the current condition of our athletic fields and state of our athletic program. On April 18th, I asked this board for 2 things. First, to focus on correcting the condition of our current playing fields that weren't properly prepared and planned for over the past 3 years. Second, to hold those people responsible for these failures accountable. Over the past month, more has been discussed and proposed regarding our fields than in the past 3 years. Although years too late, it's a great first step. Second, I ask for accountability for those who have failed our athletic program. In response to my follow-up email, you, Mr. Spicer, wrote, and I quote, "At this point, accountability does not lie with the current condition of our athletic facilities, but how the conditions can and will be improved." Mr. Spicer, our athletic community is here tonight to tell you we couldn't disagree more. Accountability absolutely lies in the condition of our athletic fields and is indicative of the failed leadership in our athletic department. 2 years ago, 400 alumni, coaches, parents, teachers, and athletes signed a petition expressing concern over the state of our athletic program and the current leadership. This board chose not to act. 2 years ago, 15 teachers and coaches signed their name to a letter directly to this Board of Education, highlighting how they felt undermined and undervalued, how there's a disconnect between the leadership of our coaches and teachers, that discussions or decisions were being made without communicating with coaches, an allegation that one coach, upon stepping down from her position, was told by our athletic director, he'll make sure she never works in this district again. Our most successful women's sports programs, field hockey and lacrosse, share uniforms, being told that the Board of Education requires cuts. These brave teachers also finished explaining how many athletic department and district employees are concerned to step forward in fear, yes, Mr. Spicer, of repercussions and retribution. Mr. Spicer, you're now asking us to turn a blind eye to these failures again. I want you to look out at the faces of your teachers, your coaches, your athletes, and your parents. We stand here in solidarity tonight to express a no confidence vote in the leadership in our athletic department today. Thank you.
Kristen Delicio.
It's Kristan.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I apologize.
Everybody does the same thing. After 53 years, there's only one person that calls me Chris, but that's a different story. Good evening. I appreciate your opening statement and allowing us to have some communication as your community. As you can see, I am an alumni. My daughter was going to wear this to the baseball game tonight because it was supposedly 80s night, but I ended up stealing it from her because I am a proud alum. I am a proud parent. My wife is a teacher in the district, and I have a graduate, and I have 2 students still in the Kingston School District, excuse me. We chose to raise our children in the Kingston School District. We chose to bring them to Kingston because of the experiences that we've had. I am one of 6 children that all grew up and went to Kingston. My cousins, there's a lot of Delicios around. I went to the Coffee and Conversation right after the horrific event that happened at the high school. Some of you were there, some of you were not. My daughter was closer than the end of this podium to that experience, and she's still having trouble today. I know that I shared with some of you that I went to her bedroom at 10 o'clock at night, and she was standing there frozen, tears coming down her face, after she texted me to go to her bedroom and going, "Dad, I cannot get this out." She's having a tough time, right? So we come, other parents, just like the parents, teachers that are here, to share with the board, to share with the administration our concerns. And you know what happens? Somebody on the board or the administration felt uncomfortable. All of a sudden, in the back of the room, there's 2 police officers, tasers, guns, uniforms. Seriously? Parents come after a horrific event of that nature. Emotions, yes. Danger, no way. Is there that type of support for our students in the school? 8 administrators, 2 armed policemen? You're afraid of the parents that were there? There's maybe 100 of us. Sure, we were emotional, but it was because we're parents, we're alumni, we have children in the school district. And all of a sudden, mysteriously behind us, that's how you made us feel. I had 2 questions that day that went unanswered. It was supposed to be coffee and conversation, so I'll repeat them tonight. Question number 1. This is about accountability and safety. We just heard about accountability. Who's accountable for that incident? 30 seconds remaining. Wow, that was a fast. Okay. That doesn't help. Sorry. Who's accountable and who's telling the students that it's going to be safe as they go forward? I saw in the Kingston Freeman that the victim was warned. I've also done a little research on my own, and the same student that jumped off a table onto the other student's head is on another video. This has to stop and be taken care of for us as a community, and most importantly, for my daughter and all of her peers in the Kingston High School.
Rose DeSantis?
Well, good evening, Board. Thank you for this opportunity. And as promised yesterday, that I will be here as a parent and as a community member. I wanted to share the reason why I added my name to the ballot and what propelled me. It is the inconsistent lack of transparency and accountability that is happening at the Montessori School, George Washington. Give you a little story. My son is 7 years old. He is a bright young man. At the age of probably 16 months old, I knew my child could not go to traditional learning classes because he was an active, hands-on learner. And I knew if I put him in regular education, and which I support, I am a product of our public school system. With research, I found that his exploratory way of learning would be best suited in the Montessori learning environment. So I made sure that upon returning to this area, I enrolled and prayed that my son was into the Montessori school. We were recently told, after being denied the opportunity to be part of the Montessori exploratory committee, that, you know, the parents that are really interested in the Montessori remaining are the Caucasian parents from the city. Well, I stand here before you to tell you that I believe in Montessori learning because I know my child's learning style. What has happened is a principal that has basically invited the individuals that she wants to participate in the BLT, which is basically a building leadership team that will help to make the determination and the decisions for the Montessori school. I asked to be part of that committee. I was denied because the principal decided to send invitations to the parents she felt would be best suited to join this committee that also provides oversight to her. We have requested several times to give us an opportunity to express our desires to have our children remain in a Montessori learning. We're willing to cooperate, willing to compromise. If there are parents who are wanting their children to continue with this learning style, then we are willing to invest, we are willing to step up, and we're willing to provide resources to do that if need be that the school is shared in different learning styles. So I come to you today as a parent who believes in this learning style because yes, there are different learning styles that fit different students. My son has excelled. He is in first grade, reading at third grade level. He accelerates in science as a future astronaut. He loves his teacher more than he loves me, to be honest with you, okay? I do not have a struggle sending my child to school, as opposed to knowing that he could have possibly been at another school where because of his desire to be involved and learn, I would get a call every day to say that he is not cooperating properly in his education. So please help us to help you find a resolution to resolving the Montessori issue.
Maggie Inge? Inge?
Sorry, I bought a couple new knees this year. So I'm Maggie Inge, and I'm with Trans Art and Cultural Services, which is located here on Henry Street in Kingston. And I'm here to really, for two purposes. We this year are presenting the second annual Pinkster Festival. Pinkster is the original festival that began here in the Hudson Valley that was the first celebration between the Dutch and the enslaved people that they had. Pinkster was a celebration that is often considered as a contributing factor to New York State being one of the first states to abandon and abolish slavery. And Pinkster is the Pinkster celebration, which will take place from May 26th through June 4th, right here in Kingston and elsewhere in Ulster County, is a celebration of our joined community history. The reason I'm here is because it's an amazing educational opportunity for all of us, and because this year we wanted to do some programming in the school, but we didn't get there. We started too late. So I'm here now offering and to declare that next year we want to be sure that at the end of the school year when Pinkster's coming around, we are part of the curriculum to celebrate with everyone. So I have flyers here that I'm willing to give to anybody who would like one. And I want to thank you for the opportunity that arises with education of our young people, because the purpose of Pinkster is to bring young people together so that our future is a little brighter. Okay, thank you.
Maureen Bowers?
Thank you for this opportunity to address the board. And you were just hit with some heavy concerns, and I appreciate that, and I know you do too. What I have to say is maybe a little lighter, but I just wanted to congratulate those who were elected and re-elected, Kathy and Priscilla and Mark and Jen, if she is here or watching. And also to thank those who ran but were not elected, because I think they deserve admiration and gratitude for throwing their hat in the ring to do something that, as we hear tonight, can be a very difficult task, and that is trying to make the best decisions that we can make for our students. And I hope that Mark and Jen, you lean on the people at this table, because they really are smart and dedicated, and they can be good guides and mentors for you. And then lastly, just to Nora, who I cannot imagine not sitting at this table, because she has been there for a long time and contributed so much to the board and to the district. So many committees that you have been on, I mean, committees that probably some of us don't even know exist, but you've facilitated and led and participated in, especially buildings and grounds. I mean, so many things that this district has talked about over the years has finally started to come to fruition, and you are part of that leadership team. So there'll be more opportunities to say goodbye, but I'll save a seat for you next to me. Bill's in it right now, but we'll knock him out, and we can watch the happenings of the board from there. So congratulations. Oh, and also on passing, big news, the budget and the capital project. Bravo to everyone who worked hard to make sure that was a reality. Thank you.
I don't know if anybody else.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the board? Then we will continue our meeting. Next up on our agenda is our superintendent's report. Dr. Padalino, please.
Thank you, Mr. Spicer. First thing in the superintendent's report is our pre-K center here at Mahar School, and Principal Janet Conti.
Am I sliding over?
Yeah, she has a video. I'm trying to go with the technical.
Okay. Ready?
Whatever you want.
Oh, good evening.
You have a
yes.
video?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Oh, turn this on?
Here you go.
Oh, here.
There you go.
Okay, well, I have some words beforehand, so we got a second. Thank you for inviting me here tonight to give an update on the wonderful things that are taking place at Mahar. As you know, my official title is Assistant Director of Elementary Humanities, but for the past 4 years, I have also gotten to wear the hat of Principal of Mahar Preschool, and I can without a doubt say that it has been the most rewarding and fulfilling hat that I get to wear. So I was inspired by Principal Kate Berardi, and I also made a video that, although the narration is not as good, I hope that it paints a good visual of what a day at Mahar Pre-K looks like.
Oh, I got 1 out of 2.
Yeah, you're closer. Oh, it's still
There it goes.
down closer.
Good evening. My name is Janet Conti, Principal of Mahar Preschool. Thank you for inviting me to share about our school and the wonderful things that we have going on this year. Good evening. My name is Jan Conti, principal of Mahar Preschool. Thank you for inviting me to share about our school and the wonderful things that we have going on this year. A little basic information about our preschool. We opened in September 2019. This is our second year of being part of Quality Stars New York, which is New York's quality rating and improvement system for early childhood programs. They provide support and resources to improve and sustain high quality across all of New York State. We have a full-day universal pre-K program with before and after care that is provided on-site by the YWCA. Currently, we have 4 universal pre-K classrooms with 80 students enrolled. One of our classrooms is a dual language classroom that provides Spanish instruction every other day to students. We also provide breakfast and lunch, and we have a full-time nurse. These are our current demographics for this school year. We have also tracked our students' homeschool since we have opened in 2019. Most of our students do come from the JFK Robert Grace attendance zone, as we are the closest UPK program to those families. We have stayed consistent with 25% of our students being of Hispanic origin, and our primary home languages are English followed by Spanish. In addition to Mahar, we also collaborate with 6 outside community-based organizations along with George Washington School to provide universal pre-K to students. Our outside providers are also a part of Quality Stars New York and utilize the creative curriculum and gold assessment system as we do here at Mahar. They are provided with professional development opportunities throughout the year and attend bi-monthly meetings. When you combine our outside organizations with Mahar and George Washington, we are able to provide universal pre-K to 260 students. This year, our forest education program that we provide here at Mahar Preschool is more robust than ever. It is so clear to see in their smiling faces alone that there are so many benefits of learning outside. Some of those benefits, but not all, is the development of essential motor skills, gross and fine, the promotion of positive relationships with physical activity, it builds confidence and independence in students, and also increases communication skills and fosters relationship building. And we can't talk about the forest without mentioning our partners, the Acorn Waldorf School. Their continued support has enabled us to grow in a way we never thought possible. This year, Lisa Michio worked closely with our staff and students. She provided our staff as well as JFK's kindergarten teachers with bi-monthly seminars, outdoor play workshops, on-the-site training, and seasonal visits to the Acorn Waldorf School. One of our pre-K teachers was just quoted in the publication, Nurturing All Children in Nature. She stated, "I have witnessed my students become more resilient, confident, creative, and physically stronger individuals. There is a peacefulness and hum of play that exists out in our forest that is difficult to recreate in the classroom. It is an amazing place to be, and I am so grateful that our school can provide this essential piece of childhood to our students." Something we strongly believe in here at Mahar Preschool is learning through play. Play naturally cultivates a child's enjoyment and motivation. Play is how children explore and understand the world. It also creates a classroom community where students can learn and grow together. Through purposeful play, Students are encouraged to make choices and practice individual decision-making. At Mahar Preschool, we encourage process art, which means art that is open-ended and that allows children to express themselves so that the finished product is the child's own. Process art gives students the opportunity for creativity and exploration of materials. Our staff this year read the book Story Workshop, New Possibilities for Young Writers, which was recommended by our District Writers Workshop consultant, Lindsay Barton. This book paved the path for our teachers to implement a structure for writing so that students were able to develop ideas and stories through a medium called story trees. By creating images through play, Story Workshop invites children to explore the amazingness of their ideas. By implementing this book into practice, we saw our students' imagination soar and their love of writing blossom. At Mahar Preschool, we have had a wonderful year collaborating with community partners as well as being able to invite families in for a variety of events. In addition to our work with the Acorn Waldorf School, we have had seasonal storytelling in the forest with Karen Pillsworth. Tracy Snyder, the program manager for nutrition and physical activity from Family of Woodstock, has provided professional development and has also come in to play with the students and teach new games. Mr. Ira Bell has joined our staff assisting daily during breakfast and lunch. Families have been welcomed in to participate in our Harvest Festival, gingerbread house making, our fashion show, our Build with a Buddy event, various classroom visits to share about their careers and cultures, and our upcoming first ever Mahar Art Show. Lastly, none of the amazing work that happens at Mahar Preschool would be possible if it wasn't for our dedicated and passionate staff. They come to work every day willing to take on whatever the day may bring. Their love for the children is undeniable and is the #1 reason why Mahar Preschool has grown to be the wonderful, accepting, and inviting place that it has become. I am so proud of the Mahar Preschool team.
Does any trustee have any questions or comments for Ms. Conti? Why don't we start from the side and just whiz all the way around, please?
Okay, I really don't have a question, but what a joy to watch them having a good time, and that's really what it should be about.
Thank you.
So I'll second that. I loved watching the pictures and certainly of them playing, and really appreciate the effort to get everybody outside and to learn outside and just to be outside even when it's really cold or wet. I think it's really important for kids to play and learn to play that way. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about your dual language classroom, how it works there and what the kids, like just how what the structure is and how it works.
So basically, about 10 of the students are native Spanish speaking this year and 10 are native English speaking. And she generally, usually the morning meeting and the read aloud every day is in Spanish, and so basically it's more about exposure to the other language for the children, and they're able to say all like the weather words and the directions and everything is given in Spanish. One-on-one, the instruction is given in their native language, but it's the general like whole class that it's got alternated. The language gets alternated.
And alternates every other day?
Yes, every other day.
So one day is pretty much the whole class communication is in Spanish, and the next day the whole class is communication in English. But
Yeah.
when there's one-on-one interaction, it's in the kids' native language?
Yes, whatever they're comfortable, what they're most
And
comfortable
so are
in.
you seeing students really learning, accelerating and learning the other language that's not their home language?
I definitely see them being excited and learning just some vocabulary words, but no, I don't see sentences so much, but definitely like the weather words or, the center they're going to, they do know like the basic words and they're very excited. The English-speaking students are very excited.
How do they talk to each other?
Usually in their native language.
Okay, but that must cross. So some students whose native language is Spanish or speak with students whose native language is English. Do you see them mixing language a little bit?
A little bit, or they try to help one another, use visuals, to show them what they're talking about.
Right. Great. I think that program is really special. It's really important. I'm glad
Yes.
that we started so young and that then we have roll out into some of our elementary schools.
Yes, and then our creative curriculum, it is in Spanish and English, so all the read-alouds and everything they have both language, so they hear the story one day in English and the same story again in Spanish.
Okay, thank you.
So they're adorable. They're so cute. I love coming here because I see them outside. I see them during Thanksgiving. They were doing their little parade.
Yeah.
It was adorable. And they were all dressed up and so cute. But I think they're doing a great job, and you're doing a great job with them.
Oh,
and the
thank
teachers
you.
are doing a great
The
job.
staff is doing a great
The staff
job,
is doing
yes.
a wonderful job. Thank you
They're
so
amazing.
much. Thank you.
Thank you.
I was wondering if you feel that you need to grow this program.
We are hoping to expand. We are hoping to expand into our 2 classrooms that currently provide before and after care.
Mhm.
That is the hope. I do believe the community, there's a need. This is our first year going to lottery this year, so we have over 80 students enrolled, so which means next week when we have our pre-K lottery, this will be Mahar's first year getting into the lottery because we are over the allotment. So yes, my hope is, I think there is a need. I think there are definitely students, I said we are reaching 260 students overall, where our normal kindergarten cohort is around 450, so I do know there are plenty of other students that can attend and should be attending pre-K. So yes, I would.
And we've applied for the extended pre-K grant back in February. We're continue to pester the state education department, asking them when will we know if we've been awarded this. If we are, we'll be able to expand into those 2 classrooms and add another 40 students to our program.
That would be great.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a
So
wonderful.
that's our hope. We have furniture already, and we're hoping, we've already, made the move to provide our aftercare and before care in the cafeteria if needed, so we are hoping to get that grant.
I again love the outdoor education piece of it, and I think it's wonderful to see that you're partnering with JFK, which is part of that community.
Yes.
To have that expanded into the elementary school, so it's fabulous.
Yeah,
Great.
thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Lamb?
And I see the kids all the time when I come here. I have one complaint. I've tried to join the line a couple of times, so I can play, and they always chase me, and the teachers always chase me out of that line. But I gotta tell you, the kids are having fun, which is what it should be, and they're learning, and kudos to your staff and you. Nice job.
Thank you.
Dr. Collins, please.
Thank you so much, and I would echo most of what my colleagues said. The outdoor education piece is especially important to me. But I also wanted to follow up on Dr. Jacobowitz' questions, because she answered or asked a couple of them that were on my mind. But I was curious about sort of the enrollment demand and structure of the bilingual program versus the other 3 classes, and yeah, just how does that work, and how does that demand and level of interest relative to what we have spaces for?
So our pre-K registrar, Lisa, she definitely asks if they prefer a traditional classroom setting or dual language to all the families that do want to enroll at Mahar. And then from there, we haven't, and then for the English, it's only been for the English-speaking families. We kind of go into a lottery for those families to see who would go into that. And then we'd also look at who Edson, whose home school is Edson, so they're most likely for the continuum in the program.
Great. So is there more interest than we have slots generally? It sounds like you have to.
There's more English-speaking demand. So this year is our first year that we've actually had 10 solid native Spanish-speaking. We've always been around 7 or 8. So it's very exciting that in that community we're growing as well. I'd love to have 2 dual language classrooms if that was the need.
Thank you.
You're
Thanks
welcome.
for your hard work.
I love the video too. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Really
Anderson.
great to see. Did you explain a little bit more about the Acorn Waldorf School?
Yes, so it's a school in Accord, and the owner, Motria Shuhan, 3 years ago now, they have a neighboring tree grant, it's called, and through their grant, it's to partner with public schools that their goal is to provide outdoor education to families that may not typically have the advantage of being able to go to a school like theirs, which is private and expensive, and hours are shorter. So her whole mission is to provide outdoor education to these students. And before we opened, I was talking with Wild Earth, and they to utilize the space out in the forest, and we weren't able to, we were trying to figure it out, and he actually introduced us, because she was looking for people to partner with. So they work with ABCD, the Agricultural Business Child Development Center, so they work with them, and they partnered with us, and they've been amazing. And they come weekly sometimes to work with the staff. They provide every other month PD with the staff. Our staff was actually at the school yesterday and tomorrow. We'll be visiting for the full day our teachers, along with the JFK teachers, to get a full day experience. And it's been wonderful. And they've been very supportive. They've provided all of the gear, the snowsuits and rain pants and boots.
I wondered where the snowsuits came from.
Yes, they're beautiful. They provided all of the students with the snowsuits and all the gear to go out in all weather, and the staff as well. So we're very lucky to be partners with them.
Thank you. Nice job.
Thank you.
Mr. Ryder, did you want to add anything?
Sure. I'll just real quickly say that both my daughters went to Aunt Jen's UBK program. It was fantastic. You said 260 overall. Are we hitting? There was never a lottery. Like sometimes there would be a lottery for Aunt Jen's back then,
Yes.
but there was always a spot. Are we getting close to filling all 260 UPK spots?
Very close. I believe most of our schools are going to lottery this year.
So if we're adding the Mehar spots, does that increase the actual 260?
Yes.
Okay.
That would put us at
was one of my
300.
concerns when the district went to the UPK program, is that it wouldn't like kind of shut out some of these other great programs, but it doesn't.
No, and when we applied for the expansion grant, we asked all of our providers if they also wanted to expand, because it's just for new slots, and unfortunately they're all at capacity, because they also have 2 and 3-year-olds, so they can't be any larger.
Is there any movement to UPK 3? And that's maybe not a fair question to you, but
Like statewise, or
yeah, or
right now they're just focused on 4-year-olds.
Okay.
Years ago, when they offered the expansion for 3s and 4s, I believe they bit off a little more. From what I heard, a little more. They really want to get a solid foundation for 4s before they open it up against for 3.
And of the pre-K that we serve, we have the 80 here, and we have 52 over at GW as well. So that 260, 45 over at GW as well. So of that 260, we are at 120 of those students here in-house. I just wanted to say one thing. I'm just going to do. Last year, you gave a presentation, and I asked you a question, and you said that you lied to me because you said I could go on the zip line, and I can't go on the zip line.
You're too tall, I think, for the zip line.
I just stand next to the zip line, so I was a little upset about that.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you to my staff.
One more board member to make a comment. One more. I found incorporating story workshop into your academic program allows your preschoolers a structure to turn their experiences into a written form and creates the thought process they need to move their lived realities onto paper. Well done. It's getting them to completely understand that I can take this and move it to a permanent structure called writing. Very important. Thank you very much. I want to congratulate you for your 6 outside partnerships, including Acorn Waldorf School, the seasonal storytelling, the nutritional ed from Families of Woodstock, and of course, inviting your families to assist in the harvest festivals, gingerbread house making, and sharing career and cultural learning. And before I make my last comment, I just wanted to say, I got on that line, Mr. Lamb. And when they were moving into the backwood area, I got on that line. I almost made it to the mountain, but that mountain is pretty steep, So I backed off. Ms. Ms.
Yeah, I
Ryder,
just
do you want
have
to say
another
something?
question. Are there any students that are bused? Or-
No.
No bus students?
No bus students.
Any students that are what?
Bus.
Oh, okay. And lastly, the board has heard from most of the other school presentations the concerns due to COVID years for the lack of socialization and play, but your program has mastered large group play and socialization. My three favorites were the human snowball down the mountain game, the splashing in the mud puddle game, and the whole class on the teeter-totter all at once game. So thank you very much, and just a huge fan. Thank you so much.
I have parting gifts.
Oh my
the publication that we were featured in, and this is actually the front page is JFK outside of their forests.
Beautiful. Thank you. You could just leave them, or we can. Thank you so much. That's very kind.
Can you have your staff stand up?
Okay.
Oh, you want me to stand up?
Next.
What?
Hang on, one
Safety
thing.
update?
Yep. So next on the superintendent's report, we have a quick safety update, and I invite Kingston High School Principal Kurt Reinhardt up to give us just some update of things that have been going on over the last 3 weeks.
Thank you. Is this on or no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So Dr. Bailey just asked me to give a couple quick updates on things that we've done the last 3 weeks. First of all, we've increased the security in the cafeteria. We've added one more security. Also, our SROs are not only roaming the site, but also spending time in the cafeteria. But with that, we're also looking at all of our practices and procedures. It's not always just how many people are on staff, but what those staff are doing. So we're looking at walking patterns, coverage patterns, everything we can do within the district. As you know, a little while ago, the district started looking at exit door buzzers. That's going along really well. We've had 2 more meetings. We had another meeting this morning about doors, which doors would have exit buzzers, what that would look like, when they can be disconnected, and then what our egresses and our fire drills, as well as dismissal and arrival would look like, not only at 212, but then again at the end of the school day. That's gone really well. There was some testing done already this week. We're looking to continue more testing, but we also want to add the ability for the doors to coincide not only with the buzzing for the alarm, but the swipe cards. Because there are times when students and staff will be outside and due to emergencies will need to egress or get back into the building in a rather quick manner. So those things are going really well. As far as the bag checks, we have added additional staff to help with the bag checks in the morning, and we have a lot of faculty that have volunteered to come in early. We're starting our bag checks at 7:10. Most of our students that are on time the first period. It's gone really well, and the students have been amazing. Getting 2,000 students into the building. We're using 3 sites. We're using the Broadway entrance, the Salzman entrance, and the field house. Like I said, the students have been great. The staff volunteering to help have been wonderful. And I think one of the best things that have come from this, we've had our first of what we're hoping to be multiple focus groups with our students. We had one last Wednesday. Kathy Saletti set it up. It was amazing. And we got very lucky just by students that were available. We had students represented in every grade level. So we talked a little bit at the beginning of the meeting about, we wanted to get some of their feedback on the principal search. And then we talked about safety protocols, what their concerns were. We asked them about the bag checks. And they were for the bag checks. I thought, they would complain, but they understood it. They understood the process. They thought it was going well. And they really appreciated that. And then we asked them if they felt safe, and they said they did. And 2 of the comments were that this was unique because of the fact that they felt this was more planned and more targeted, not random. And they did feel, but they did appreciate the additional staffing, but they felt safe within the school. And then we had a conversation in regards to what they thought about metal detectors, because I think we should value students' input. And they were not in favor of the metal detectors. And the reason were very sound. The one was pretty scientific, and I was pretty proud of that, being a former physics teacher. They wanted to know if there was variations on the sensitivity of the detectors, because one of the students showed me 4 or 5 items that she felt would trigger it, and she thought that would slow the process down if the main process is to make sure that were looking for really negative aspects being brought into the school. I thought that was very clever. They were also concerned about the optics. What does it look like if we have, so, I mean, the students were amazing. The feedback they gave was great. We're going to continue these focus groups. Things are going well. We're continuing meeting with students that we feel that are in crisis. We're still reaching out to any students that were in that period where we had that tragedy. But once again, we're considering our counseling. And I think one of the advantages we have of this model that we're in now with the cohort model, you know, besides our freshmen that are fairly new to the building, our other students have been with their team now for 2, 3, and 4 years. So I think that really helps. They've built those relationships, and we're continuing to make sure we build those relationships with our freshmen. And another thing that came out of this, and I've talked to a few parents and I've talked to a few students in 9th grade, is they really weren't quite sure what we mean because we've had the cohort model in place now. I think maybe as leadership, we kind of took for granted that our parents know what that means and who the first line of defense is and who they reach out to. You know, so I did talk to the administrative team at the high school that I think going into August and September, let's spend a little bit, because when we first introduced the cohort model, we really did a lot of parent meetings about what it meant. So I think that's something, as a high school administrative team, we can do a better job going into the fall of why we have this set up, why you have the AP for 4 years, what it looks like, what we mean when we talk about the suite. So I think these are things we can definitely improve on. Yeah, go ahead.
I really appreciate all of the information you gave us, and I really am grateful that you included mental health in that as well, and mental safety. And there were some concerns expressed tonight that parents felt that their children weren't still doing well. Is there a way that those parents can reach out to their guidance counselors and make sure that their kids are being...
Yeah, please do. And anybody, for any reason, if anything, it could be SEL, it could be academics, it could be concerns over the summer, it can be, you know, we have students that are graduating, those transition pieces. Please reach out to your teams. I mean, if the message comes to me, I'll definitely respond, but, you know, the nice thing about this is, you know, we have a school of 2,000 that we've now broken down into four smaller schools. But at any time, please reach out. I mean, the best way to get items solved are right at the ground level, right with their counselors and the AP. So please have them reach out.
Thanks.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Please, Dr. Collins.
Sorry.
And then Dr. Jacobowitz, and then Ms. Anderson, please. And Ms. Ryder, did you want to? And then Mr. Ryder. Okay.
Thank you for that update. I'm really interested, I think we're all very interested in what our students are thinking and feeling and experiencing. And I'm curious about how to best garner that information. And you mentioned the focus group. So how is that actually... Can you just talk about how that happens? How many students, when it's happening in the day?
So the first one was kind of small. We did one, it was last Wednesday. We had about 15 the first time. So what we did was, to make sure we get a more diverse group and a large cross-section of the school, we sent an invite out to all of the club advisors and all of the class advisors. Figured this way we were guaranteed to have the 4 cohorts, plus as many of the different clubs, the music department, and we let them know when the meeting was, and it's going to be an open invitation. So that's our hope, to reach as many. And the theory is we want to have more with smaller groups, because if it gets too large, I mean, it was nice. I mean, I wish it had been more the first time, but those 15, I think it was 15 or 16 students really had a chance to really have a great conversation with us. So Kathy Saletti did a great job, and we're going to continue these, and the invites are going to continue to go out.
How are the... Well, you described sort of what the students were saying, but I'm curious then, how can we qualitatively capture what's happening in these sort of more systematically, just to understand it?
Okay, so that one was more informal, but I guess if we want, we can either do a Likert scale or we can do a survey. If the board would like me to do that, that's fine. Yeah. Right now, it was pretty much just, we wanted an open forum for students to talk and kind of get their, and we just kind of threw out open-ended questions and got their feedback, but if you'd like something we can quantify more, that's something I can work on.
Well, I'm just interested in getting as many voices heard and in many different formats, because I know that, and depending on who's leading the group or how many kids are in the group, and that we might hear different things.
Okay, no, I agree. Thank you.
I'm sort of interested in different formats.
So a few things a little bit related to that. First of all, I'd say that 16 is perfect for a focus group. You need too many more kids, then you just get too many voices. So, of course, then the burden is to have more focus groups, so I know that that's a lot. And I think qualitative data is extraordinarily valuable, and I don't know that you need to quantify what kids think. If you can get a really good sense and someone's collecting the data for what's happening in those focus groups, I think that's extraordinarily valuable. And I appreciate the report that you just gave us. I mean, it's a little piece, but it's a window, and I think that's really important. I also appreciate, we heard a lot of concerns last Saturday. I know that you were there, and so one of them was walking patterns, and it sounds like that's something that we're thinking about. One other thing that we talked about was that we have a certain amount of a number of adults in the cafeteria, but we should think about whether it's the right combination. So how many monitors to security guards does that need to shift? So I'd imagine, is that something that's being talked about also?
Yeah, we're looking at that. We're looking at procedures. But once again, you know, what is that balance? Because there's also that balance of our students are ready for the real world. So we also want to give our students that time. We want them to be safe, but they also need a little bit of independence. I mean, there's 16, 17, 18-year-olds having lunch. We also don't want adults on them all the time. So it's that balance also of safety, but as well as giving our students their privacy and be able to have conversations with their friends. So that's that walk we have in working in a high school. But you're right, we're looking at those numbers and what looks safe, what feels safe, and what is safe.
Right.
So.
And then, so just two more things. I appreciate that. I wonder if kind of going into the fall, and this might not be possible, so it's just a thought, if there's a way to shift the scheduling so that the lunch periods maybe aren't as crowded. I don't know, we have 3 lunch periods now. I don't know if we can add a 4th. I'm just thinking about ways to like lighten up some of the spaces.
I did master scheduling for a long time. I mean, we're pretty much locked into when we have to start lunch by the state, right? And then also, how late do we want students to eat lunch? 4 lunch periods is a lot. I mean, and you know, that day there was just a little over 300. So if you take 1,800, divide it by 4, we're at about 4. We have well over 100 students get privilege cards. I mean, we're very proud of that program. So 5th period is our largest, based on the fact that a lot of our students come back from BOCES. They have that lunch and then they continue their required core. We can try to balance it a little bit more, but I think it would be to add another lunch, we would have to reduce the time so that we're still feeding students roughly between that 10:15 and 10:20 time. And we really want our students eating prior to 1 o'clock. So we're tough locked in with the master schedule because we're so, you know, everything good has a negative side to it. We offer so many AP and collegiate courses that anytime we touch the schedule, we don't want to exclude those educational opportunities. I think it's more important that we look at what can we do better to make sure that our cafeteria is safer, because we don't want to lose programming also.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it absolutely does, and it was just a thought. It
No,
was just
I thought the same thing.
Yeah,
I'm thinking but when you look at either shortening lunch, what would be opposite that time?
Right.
And then we don't want to lose programming. Let's invest and really look at what we're doing during those 41 minutes to make those times as safe as possible.
Right, okay, thank you, I appreciate that. I was just thinking about like what else can we do? And then finally, I have 3 kids in the high school, as you know, and I have heard, and you know, 15-year-old perspective, that the bag checks are going great, and it's actually really efficient and really quick, and that they get a kick out of seeing their teachers jumping in and helping.
Yeah, the staff have been amazing. I mean, the staff are getting there at 7 o'clock, 7:05, so everything is lined up. And, you know, the last 2 weeks was AP exams, so we wanted to make sure that those students got right to the front of the line, got to their exam so they can.
I would hear all about it if they were late, so they've been all good.
I would too.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I think it's Ms. Anderson, then Mr. Ryder, then Ms. Lau. Mrs. Lau.
So my question was about the focus groups as well, and I don't need to hear it again. I think they've been answered. I just want to be sure that the focus groups are really representative of the entire student population, because it's easy to, particularly when you're working with class advisors and so forth, you know, they kind of tend to pick certain students, and we want to be sure that all of their voices are heard. And I just wanted to make a comment about the staff helping out and volunteering. I'm not surprised. That is what the Kingston High School staff does and has done over the years. So when there's a problem, when there's a crisis, they're there to support one another and support the students. And I'm glad to hear that that's still the case. Thanks.
And I think just to answer quickly, I mean, I think one of the reasons Mr. Reinhardt got Mrs. Saletti involved, and she's our director of the equity and inclusion, was that so she could help us create these focus groups with
That lens,
all of
yeah.
our students, as part of the process. So yeah, using that DEI lens in recruiting students to be involved.
Mr. Ryder?
Yeah, thank you. So on the focus groups, I agree with Dr. Jacobowitz that quantitative is, we don't necessarily need that, but if we can make sure that we're tracking the data on the qualitative, making good notes, and that if the board could see it, that would be great. On the coffee and conversations, comment was brought up about the doors being unlocked. Has that been fixed? That there was doors that people could just go through?
We go around and we do security checks all the time.
Okay.
But it's like any protocol, right? It's only as good as the people that are doing it. So I am putting out very strong reminders of what my expectations are with doors being closed.
Okay, so it's the idea that they aren't closed and so people can enter through them, or are they not locked?
All exterior doors are locked. All classroom doors are now locked.
Okay.
That changed. Dr. O'Rourke. How long ago that? Dr. O'Rourke, right? That was. But all of our doors are locked.
Okay.
All of our exterior doors are locked and can only be pushed out because their egress is for fire.
That was the answer that you gave on that Saturday, that it was going to get dealt with, so I just
Yeah.
wanted to
And that's what the
confirm.
buzzers are all about too.
Yeah.
So obviously we
For
can't lock the
exterior.
students into the school, and any student could hit that panic bar and let someone in. But that's why we actually started the buzzer program almost a year and a half ago, but nothing in school construction goes quickly. So now we have the buzzers in, they're operational, and now Mr. Reinhardt and his team are just working on the logistics of making sure the teachers know what's going on, making sure we know which ones we need to turn off, what times of day, those kind of things. So, now, with very soon, somebody hits that panic bar, we're gonna get the buzzer, it's gonna be alerted, and our security officer, the people we have sitting there at the screen all the time will be able to identify right where it is, and we can bring our people to that area.
That's great.
I mean, you're right. I mean, that's the biggest thing is the fact that when the doors are opened, I mean, I hate to bring it up when you look at all these tragedies across the country was somebody letting somebody in a side door.
Yeah.
But like Dr. Palino said, when the alert, not only would the alarm go off, but we will get an alert at the safety desk that door had been breached.
That's great. You'd mentioned that there was additional resources, a security officer in the cafeteria. Is that additional to the high school, or are we just shifting resources?
No, that's
around?
additional to the high school itself.
So there is additional resources at the high school. My last piece is just that I would encourage you, as you're going through these focus groups, when you talk about metal detectors, I mean, people have a lot of different ideas on what a metal detector is. You can put them in a doorway, you would never know they were there. They can tell you if it's earrings that are going off because the buzzer's up high, or the lights are up high. They don't even necessarily buzz. If a kid is just talking about the idea of what a optics of a metal detector is, there's a lot of technology that's out there that you wouldn't even notice it. And it wouldn't need to like stop every single person, so.
Thank you, Mr. Ryder.
Oh, no.
Ms. Lau?
Yes, I was wondering, where are the focus groups held and where?
We had it last Wednesday, 9th period in the auditorium.
Mr. Lamb?
This is actually Dr. Pedalino. At the Coffee and Conversation, the statement was made that we didn't allow SROs in the cafeteria. But that's not true, is it?
No, it's never been said they're not allowed. The SROs are allowed to, we hadn't specifically assigned them to the cafeteria, say, you, Officer Dawson, sit in that cafeteria for 3 hours. We haven't done it. We do that with our security guards, we do that with our monitors, but we haven't done that with our SROs. Our SROs do many things, and even if we look at our contract on our SROs and a lot of the work we did in our SRO committee, one of the things that we said we wanted, that they were a resource. They were doing many different things, and their job was not supervision of students. So our SROs really, their job is not supervision of students. That's where security guards and our monitors are for. They're there to assist us. They're there. They do a lot of planning. They do a lot of things. Now, clearly, if we need their help, are they there to help us? Absolutely, and they do. But no, they weren't assigned to that. But again, you could see them. They might be there one period, but they're doing something else another, that kind of thing. But it's never been something we've ever done. I've been an administrator for more than 20 years and had SROs in every school I've ever been in, and we've never necessarily assigned an SRO to even any one spot in the school, because it's necessary for them to be called, be available to call at many places at any time.
Thank you.
Does any other trustee have a question for Mr. Reinhardt? Then thank you for your presentation.
Thank you. Congratulations, Ms. Shield.
Just to talk about, I did, one next thing I wanted to follow up on the metal, just, we were talking, and I won't go deep into the metal detector, so just to tell you where we've been with it. We have started to look, actually, Mr. Parker, myself, and Mr. Carbon had a conversation today with the head of security at Newburgh, where they have had metal detectors since, I don't know when, forever. 2005, is that what we said? Okay, so they've had them there for a long time. So we talked to them about their process and procedures. Mr. Parker is actually going to Middletown on Thursday to visit them, to talk to them about their processes and procedures. We reached out to a couple vendors to kind of say, come in, talk to us, tell us what this costs, tell us what the newest technology is, and how maybe we can implement it in Kingston High School. And our architects, KSQ, are looking at the design around it, because we talk about the look, right? It's, you walk in, we don't want it to look like TSA, coming through at Kingston High School, but is there some way we can incorporate that into our current, architecture in the buildings? So again, that's not saying, that's what we're doing, but I want to give you all, my job is to give you all the information so you can have the discussion.
Thank you, Dr. Palomino. Anything else for superintendent's report?
Just a couple quick things. I know the sports fields came up again tonight. I just know the comprehensive review of Miller and Gruner Fields was completed last week. I received the report from Irwin Associates about their recommendations and what needs to be done as far as the regular turf. I got that today. I did not read it yet, so I won't report on that until next time, but I do have that. And they also sent out kind of a template for what their long-term maintenance and district sports complex plan would look like. So that's the next step after this. So we more of a comprehensive strategic plan around our non-Dietz fields. So we're expecting that probably won't happen until summer. But this piece here with finding out what we need to do to get that field ready to start doing it as soon as sports ends, in a few weeks, we'll be able to implement some new strategies over there.
So would they be taking care of the fields then for us, or?
They're gonna give us a comprehensive maintenance program, tell us what we need to do first. We'll bring whatever resources we need to, whether it's our guys or bring somebody in to do it. Tell us what we need to do. We're gonna do that, and then they're gonna show us how to maintain that properly.
Do they do other districts in the area, or?
They actually are downstate. They're Westchester. They've done many fields down in that area. They've KSQ's from down there too, so they brought a consultant they use and they've worked with.
Are we looking outside of those two facilities for the fall? Like, I'll give you an example. I know KSL just built the brand new, finally got a field built at Kikook Lane, and I know they've used KCSD fields for years. So I don't know if there's an opportunity to do a partnership there. I know the city of Kingston has a soccer field that they just built down at the waterfront. Are we examining any of that?
We are. We're looking at some of the other things that we're looking at. Obviously, track is an issue. Next spring track is going to be an issue. So, and while we tried to create a training area at Chambers, our students won't be able to run on a real synthetic track. There's some things that are missing from that. So we're looking at some of our neighbors and some of the local colleges that have some facilities that maybe, even if we're not there every day, if we can get there a few times a week and share with them their fields. So we're looking at a lot of different options. Yeah.
Did you have anything, Dr. Pellew, did you have anything else for superintendent reports?
I just have one more thing. I do want to, Brian, and you'll all get this. I'll send this all to everybody. It'll be put up on our website. But I just want to remind you of the senior class activities. May Day is Friday, 8:45. Kingston High School, auditorium. Obviously, the breakfast is at 7:30. Not auditorium. It's in the field house. The breakfast is at 7:30, but the May Day festivities are at 8:45.
Do we have to RSVP for that?
Nope. You do not. The Make a Difference presentation will be June 2nd at 3 p.m. in the auditorium. That's where our senior class gets the opportunity to bring an adult in our school district who's made a difference in their life and talk about them with there at the auditorium. So that's
Say that date again.
June 2nd, 3 p.m. Senior Awards Night is Monday, June 5th at 7 p.m. at the auditorium. Our baccalaureate is June 20th. I don't have a location for that just yet. That's also our senior walk day, when our seniors go to their feeder elementary schools and walk through and visit with our students in those schools. So that's in the afternoon, and then the baccalaureate. And graduation, of course, is June 23rd, 5 p.m. at Dietz Stadium. Again, I'll send that all out to you in an email, but just wanted you to know.
I have something out there, that Anita competition, Anita public speaking, is.
Anita Peck?
Anita Peck is June 14th.
Okay, I did not know that.
At
Down at Ulster County?
Ulster, 7 o'clock.
Can I add one more while they're all writing down? Athletic Awards Night is June 15th at 6 p.m.
Sorry, where was that?
That's going to be in the auditorium.
What time again, please?
6. June 15th at 6.
Okay, I'm almost afraid to ask Dr. Paolino, do you have anything else for superintendent reports?
That concludes the superintendent's report, Mr. Vice.
Well done, sir. Thank you. Then next up on our agenda are the Board of Education reports. We'll continue with a report from our Policy Committee Chair. Ms. Jordan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Spicer. I'll read as fast as Dr. Paolino talks. The Policy Committee met on May 5th. The meeting was called to order at 9:30. We were joined by Dr. Rachel Skorka, the AP at KHS, and Mr. Mike Coffey, who I believe is an attendance officer.
Yes, he is.
And they reviewed their recommendations from the committee for attendance, which Mrs. Shearer also served on, from the high school. The recommendations were made to align policy 5100, student attendance, with the reality of today's issues around attendance, and to ensure that students are given clear parameters regarding excused and unexcused absences, requirements for notes, prior approval, etc., and that communication between teachers and parents regarding attendance be improved and ongoing throughout the year. We discussed an attendance is everything campaign and ensuring teacher practice aligns with policy. The committee suggested changes to update the policy to our current needs and expectations, and the suggested policy has been provided for first reading. Please feel free to bring any questions or concerns to anyone on the policy committee, and we can always have a full discussion at our next meeting prior to its adoption. Dr. Laura Sagan then joined us to report on policy number 4513, library materials selection. Dr. Sagan provided detailed information regarding book selection, the due diligence of library media specialists regarding book selection and deletion, and described the efficient methods that our libraries have and can employ to ensure parental rights to an opt-out as long as it's not anything that has to do with a graduation requirement. I was so impressed with that information that I really think that we should invite her to the board to do a presentation, and hope that maybe that can be one of our superintendent's reports in the future, because it was really eye-opening, and I think that the policy committee members there felt really reassured. And to Dr. Jokobowitz, one of your concerns being more preemptive, I really felt comfortable after hearing that report. Policy 1420, concerns about curricular or instructional materials, was also reviewed by the library media specialist, and Dr. Sagan also reported about that. It was edited to respond to suggestions made by the library media specialist to update and improve the policy and the request for reevaluation of instructional materials. I'd like to thank Dr. Sagan and Dr. Skorka and Mr. Coffey for their expertise and input, because that's what makes the policies really ring true, when we have the people who are in the field who can give us that information. Policy number 5340, Educational Community Standard of Trust, which is the theme song for this year, will be shared with the parent group representatives for feedback, and then hopefully we hope to share the draft policy with the board after our June meeting, when we incorporate any feedback from teachers, students, and parents into the policy draft. our next meeting is at June 2nd, Friday, at 9:30 here. Any questions or concerns? I hope, I do have one thing that is my mistake. We did do a first reading of the disclosure of wrongful conduct policy number 9645 on March 22nd, and I neglected to put it on the agenda for adoption. So I'm going to ask Karen if we can put that on for our next meeting, and then Mr. Ryder can have the opportunity to review it, and we'll adopt it at our next meeting.
9645, correct?
Yes, thank you. That's my mistake. One of them.
Thank you, Ms. Jordan. Next, a report from our Facilities Committee Chair, Ms. Shear, please.
Okay. A meeting of the Facilities Committee was held on May 10th, called to order at 3:32, and commenced with a reading of the minutes of March 8th, 2023. A motion to accept was made by Mr. Spicer, seconded by Ms. Anderson, and approval was unanimous. Updates on current and pending projects were given by Andy Howe, Armand Quadrini, and Dylan Bogert. For the KHS pool, it is open and classes are being held. There remain 4 items on the pool punch list which are being addressed currently. All should be completed by Friday, May 19th. A question was raised as to the depth of the pool changing, and it was reported that the depth is now 6 inches deeper in the shallow end due to an alteration in the gutter system, making it much more like an infinity pool. Therefore, life jackets have been requested for elementary-aged children, and Mr. Silverstein is looking into that order. In terms of the KHS air conditioning, roof joists were reinforced over the spring break as planned, and a structural engineer has signed off on the reinforced joists. An electrical panel was installed in the pantry on the 2nd floor of the main building. As to the playgrounds, installation should start when school ends. In the meantime, Mr. Bogert reported that extra soft landing material in form of wood chips would be delivered to Chambers as requested. And all materials are here and at the warehouse or in storage with the contractors. The capital project information has been prominently placed on the home page of the district website. Flyers have gone out to schools, preliminary postcards have been mailed to voters, and a newsletter about the budget and the capital project should be delivered to mailboxes today, May 10th. Of course, this is old news now. And tonight, I am happy to report that the voters have given us permission to proceed with this much-needed project that will address 9 of our school buildings. I wanted to thank the community for that. In terms of fields, Dr. Padalino then gave an update on district fields, and he gave more information tonight. He informed us that while graduation for 2023 will be held at Dietz, graduation for 2024 will be back at Kerner Field. The turf at Dietz was tested, will be refreshed for the end of the 2023 spring season. But moving forward, the district is looking into a variety of options to prepare our sports fields for increased usage, with Dietz closing again in July after graduation, and probably not coming online again until sometime next summer. It was suggested, and Dr. Catalino agreed, that field reports be given twice a year moving forward. Excuse me. Green energy option discussion followed. We had an honored guest with us to discuss sustainable energy options, i.e. solar and geothermal, and the discussion will continue next month at the June facilities meeting. Smart schools. Current SED review of proposed projects has reached those submitted in January of 2023. This was as of May 10th. Ours was submitted in February, so it should be up soon. It is currently taking about 4 months to complete the SED review. Once that's completed and we secure our building permit, Smart Schools Phase 1 work will commence. The meeting was adjourned after deciding our next meeting will be held in person at Mahar on Tuesday, June 13th at 3:30.
Thank you, Ms. Shear. Any questions for our Facilities Chair? Please, Mr. Lamb.
It's actually not a question. Ms. Shear has given 50 years to the Kingston City School District between teaching and being on the board, and she has been spearheading the improvements at Kingston High School and our other buildings as long as I can remember, and I have to thank you on behalf of the community and the board.
Any other questions or comments for our Facilities Chair? Then, next on our our agenda is our consent agenda. Are there any resolutions any board member would like pulled for separate consideration? Then I need a motion to accept the consent agenda as is.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Can I just ask one or make one quick point? I believe in the consent agenda was the purchasing cooperative, is that correct? Can I just ask that we really evaluate when we're looking at the purchasing cooperative? I spent 5 years as the county's director of purchasing. Sometimes they're a better deal, a lot of times they're not, and it's great that we have the authority to use them, but we often found we could do our own bidding and find lower prices.
Thank you.
Ms. Barban's here for it.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Mr. Ryder. Any further discussion on the consent agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Any abstentions? Consent agenda is passed. We have 4 donations tonight, and Mr. Ryder, being our newest board member, will take over that from Ms. Anderson. The floor is yours, sir.
All right. The Kingston City School Board wishes to express its gratitude for a donation of $5,000 from the City of Kingston Community Events Grant Program to support the Kingston High School Period Power Club and their 2023 Menstruators on the Bench event, which supports their efforts to destigmatize menstruation. A generous, anonymous donation of camera equipment to the Kingston High School. A wonderful donation by Ulster County Department of Environment of 4 trees for the George Washington Elementary School. And finally, a generous grant award from Connect Kids Field Trip Grant in the amount of $3,760 for the Kids Classic.
Thank you, Mr. Ryder. Thank you. Well done. Does any trustee have an item for old business? Does any trustee have an item for new business? Then I have one. I wanted to express my thanks to Dr. Padalino, his staff, and the successful efforts of our communications director, Jess Clegg, at informing our community about the details of our budget and capital improvement plan. As the momentous school infrastructure improvements are implemented, the entire community will owe a debt for years to come for the efforts that went forward because of this. Thank you so much. Well done. We have come to our second public comment session. Do we have anyone wishing to address the board?
Well, we need to announcements.
Yeah, after that. Okay, no more public comments. Are there any board members wishing to make an announcement?
Just a reminder to the board, tomorrow is Masterworks concert at, what is it, Point of Praise. So, in there are a couple of tickets available, because I got one today.
Thank you, Mr. Lamb. Please.
Just also, I should probably part of my superintendent's report, but I'll announce it as a new announcement right now. On the 25th of May, 100 of our students will be going down to Marist College, and they'll be participating in the Transformational Classroom Youth Conference with 3 other school districts. This is out of the work that we've done with our consultant, Dr. Siobhan Hunter, that we've talked about our vision. Dr. Hunter is going to come do a presentation during the summer of the work that he's done. So these are all student presentations. It's really a big, great event. Anybody who's interested in going down that day, let us know, and Ms. Bonville and I will find a way to get you down there or get you in. But it's going to be, it's really exciting, and this work is creative, totally student-led, and just a new way of looking at what we're doing, and a big part of our curriculum audit work that we're doing, especially at the secondary level. This is Miller students, Kingston High School students, and Valley students.
And it's May 25th, you said?
May 25th. It starts. It's May 23rd. I've said 25th like 3 times about this event. I'm sorry. It's May 23rd.
It starts around 9:45.
Yeah, and it goes to about 1. But and it'd be almost worth it just to go down and meet Javon Hunter, because he's a dynamic and brilliant guy.
That's it. And any other board member announcements? Then I have one. Congratulations to our re-elected board members, and congratulations to our 2 newly elected board members, and gratitude for all who ran for a position. Our community is blessed to have so many willing to serve our children. Thank you all. We have no issues for a second executive session, so I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We are unanimously adjourned. Everyone have a good night.
Thank you. I didn't expect it to happen so soon. Last night,
These are,
Give me a text and call. I'm in, some stuff.
What day of the week is the 23rd?
Okay, just let me know.
What
when
day
you're
of the
done.
week
All right,
is the 23rd?
Or early next week.
for you. I'll take that. That's official. I just want to make sure you have the official numbers.
Yep.
I'll get with you sometime soon. We'll get you.